So here, talk through this Japanese sum cipher puzzle by Murat and Tonta. It has a hidden theme, which we'll run into as you get through the solve. While it may look intimidating to start, the key thing will be thinking about the cipher constraints. And we've got some rows that have two instances of a double-digit number that starts with an A or with an S. And those effectively mean, for instance, 10 plus 10 plus something, or 20 plus 20 plus something with the remaining digits. But it's never 30 plus 30 plus something. And that's because 1 through 9 add up to 45, so our largest row value can only be 45. So A and S are limited to be 1 and 2 in some order. The other double-digit givens we have start with M's and H's. So M is 3 or 4, H is 4 or 3. And with that put into the grid, we now only have 0 and then everything that's 5 or above left over. And so as we get to some other larger sums, here are some like SU, SJ question mark. SU and SJ, the U and J have a minimum value they can be as 5. And so 5 plus question mark is going to be okay if S is 1. 25 plus question mark looks fine, but 45 plus question mark is too large. It's over 45. And it's actually the case where you have SU, SJ, even S and SP. You'll see that S is going with a lot of digits, including, therefore, digits probably 6, 7, 8. And so S will have to be the 1, A will have to be the 2. But even marking that in, we have this space over here with AU, AE, and that's going to be 40 plus U plus E. So U and E are a maximum of 5, and the only values we can give them right now are 0 and 5 to make that work. So this would be okay, 25 and 20, or the other order. So one thing we know is this column is going to sum up to 45, and I'll mark those in green as we run into them. But we also know that E and U are going to be 0, 5 or 5, 0. So we've got a good start to the assignments just about thinking about big digits and big sums. And as we mark in some of the things we know for sure, we've got 11, 22, 21. This question mark will have to be a 1 or 2 for this to be a valid 43. This will be 22, 21, 21, 12, 12. I'm looking for clues where we've got some more kind of content to look at as we look at J, P, N, and D. And so this is an interesting group at the bottom. It's effectively right now 31 plus 2 times n, because we have the question marks are going to be n in each case. And 31 would allow n to be 6. That would get us to 43, and it will allow n to be 7, which gets us to 45. So n is a 6 or 7, but can't be larger than that. Looking for another SA clue. Here we've got SN and AP, so all we really know is n plus p is 15 or less. But here's one, SH with AJ and J. So this is 30 plus H plus 2J. And actually H is a 3 or 4, but let's start with it being a 3. And that's because where this was an 11, that was already somewhat constraining. If H is a 3 and J is a 6, those are the minimums for both of those values. This is exactly 45. So there's no case where H can be larger than 3, because we wouldn't have a valid value for J, and there's no there's no other value J can take. So we know that J is 6. That means N down here has to be 7. We know that H is 3 and M is 4. So this first column is a very big clue to help us out. It's a sum of 45. This bottom row is a sum of 45. Marking in some of the other things we know, if M is 4, this is 44 plus a leftover. It's got to be 1. This is 44 for leftover 1. So these are some fun rows that also add up to 45. We said that we knew these would be constrained to add up to 15. N and P added up to 15. And we now actually have 17 plus 2 question mark, and the only values left are 8 or 9. And if P is 9, that's too large, so P is 8. And D is 9. And so we have a lot of stuff now known for sure. We've got 17s, these are 14s. This is 18. Got 18 with 17. This is 29. This is 4, so this is actually a column that adds up to 45. We'll mark that in. This is 41, which is pretty large. This is 16. This is 9. This is 3. This is 14. And this is 3. And we still don't know what U or E are, so I'm just leaving those untouched for the moment. with all these groups that come up to 45 that are in green, they're going to use 9 digits in those spaces. And for some of them, like these that have the 44 clues, the 44 will be 8-digit runs. And you can force it, at least these 7 will be part of that run. You could come over to here like this and get a valid set. You could look like this, have a valid set. But in all these options, these 7 are taken. Similarly, all these 7 are taken. That's maybe one of the first things you all saw to do, but another reason to mark in these groups is these groups in green that have 3 sums as part of them are really, really, really constrained. And they're constrained because 9 digits in an 11 by 11 grid means there are 2 blackened cells. Those blackened cells must be a single cell between each of the sums. So the most extreme cells, this must be part of the 27 sum. However far it goes across, you then get 1 black cell, some more cells to get the 11, another black cell, and that's how you get 27, 11, 7 with 2 black cells between those spaces. So the leftmost and rightmost are used in this row. Similarly in this column, 4, 29, 12, if they add up to 45, the topmost and bottommost get used. This first column, 6, 13, 26, same constraints coming in. We now can come through and take some of these values which are larger. So 27 needs at least 4 cells. 24 is the maximum 3. This comes to a cell that needs to join up to this 12. This AE is 20 or 25, so this also has to come up a few. 26 needs to come up at least 4 cells. Notice in doing that, it's intercepting this 1 clue, so this comes across, and we know that this value is a 1. But what we also just discovered is that this cell that I just marked in means I've got a 3-cell sum, which is a 20 or a 25, and that can't be a 25. So we actually know that E is 0 and U is 5, and we now have the rest of the values for this grid. This is 10, 10, and 15. So I'm going to turn off the number tab option to simplify life for the next few minutes. So we've got all the Cipher letters identified. Let's come back to some of these key rows. First, this 25 needs to have 6 digits in this run because all 9 digits are in this column. This 22 takes another. This 6, that doesn't do more. This 4 doesn't do more. But down here, this 12 has to come up at least 1 more. This 18 has to come up 3 more. That now hits this row clue. It's got to come over at least 3. 12 can take 4 cells, but never can take more. 29 is at least 4 cells, and there's just enough space for it, leaving a singleton for this 4 up top. This actually will mark the single cell as a forced option for the 44. It also takes this 4 coming across. The 21 will need to take at least this cell. 35 coming down will need at least 5 cells, so we'll mark those in. Shading those in actually fills in this last cell for the 44, so this comes in, puts in a 6. This 6, 6, 18, 21 is 45, so this is now a completed set of 45. And that means this 6 is a singleton. It also means that the extremes of this clue are now always going to be part of some. So this is part of the 21. This must be a part of the 18. Grow at least 3 cells, and then there's a blackened cell, the last blackened cell in one of these 3. I just shaded some of these, so let's see what they did. This 3 coming down can only be 2 cells long, 2 with 1 above it. That means this 17 over here has to be in these cells, 8 with 9. This 13 coming down will take this. I said before the 25 is 6 cells long, so these have to get used. This 22 will have to take at least these cells, and actually coming back to this 26 with 1 given, 3 cells is 24. This always has to come to this cell. Need to get a 21, which is at least 3 cells large. So that takes me over to here. Trying to see if there's more I can do. It looks like this 41 is another constraint worth looking at. A 41 is at least 7 cells large because 9 down through 4 is 39. So 6 digits, you can only get 39. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This now means the 22 and the 21 are over here. So this singleton is the 1 or the 2. And the 1 is above it, so this has to be just the 2. And so this is another row that's fully 45. And so the extreme cells are used. Coming back to this 35 clue, 35 can be 5 cells. That's 5 through 9 added together, but it's not 9 cells, so this can't be used. And this last sum that's a question mark could take 3 or 4 digits, but never takes this cell. This 11 coming to the left needs at least 2 cells, and one of them is this one. That comes up here. This blackened cell means there's a 17 to the right, which is 8 with 9, and it means this other 17 goes at least 3 cells. This could be 7, 6, 4. Comes at least over to here. Marking these in, looking back now in the other direction, 16 can be 2 cells, but not 6 cells. So this is 7, 9, 7, 9. We haven't marked this in yet, but this will be some set of 1, 2, 3, 6 coming down here. The 1 and 2 actually eliminate 6 as a choice here, so this is 4, 5, 6. 18 can be in 3 cells, but not in 6 cells, so this is marked off. That means this has to be part of a digit to be valid for the 44. 2 and 8 or 2 and 9 aren't as large as 17, so this coming up has to be marked in. We've got a few more. So this 1728 is a sum of 45, and that means that after we get 8 and 9 in the grid, 1 through 7 as a whole group come in to be the next sum. So this is how we get 28. One of these, but not both of these, will be used. We've got a constraint that looks like it's starting to play out, which is that this 14, 14 question mark is pretty constrained. We need a 14 sum in here. We'll always take this cell. That looks like a good first thing to make because it now intercepts this column. It's got a question mark, a 30, and a 3, and 30 needs at least 4 digits. So I've got 4 digits, 1 digit. That has to exactly go in like this, and that means this is a 45 in total. Putting in this 3, we have that this 11 needs to take these spaces to work out. We get this being a 2 or 4. This is maybe a trickier logic, but one I'm seeing stand out at this moment. The leftovers, for instance, if 41 and 2 were in the grid, this would sum to 43, but 43 is 2 away from 45, which means 2 is missing. And so 2 is a really awkward digit here and can't actually be the missing digit for that whole column. 2 with 1, like those all work. But anyway, like 2 is a value here does not work. So this is 4, this is 7, this is 9. And whatever this 41 is, it's going to take one more cell on either side, but it's not going to be able to take this cell. So this is a 1. This 1 is part of a 9 sum, so it's going to come up and take this. Looks like I've got a 3-digit 9 sum. It's never larger than that, and this question mark is going to keep growing. So it comes up, takes these to be 1's contiguous sum. This 22 question mark, this is the 22. This is the other side of that, so these 6 digits are part of that group. That now means for this 14, 14 question mark, this has to be marked off. We're getting some good headway looking around the grid like this. I think one key thing is now going to be looking at this 22 sum and recognizing it's in a row that has 6 digits in the other question mark sum. So this is a 23, and this whole row will add to 45. And a cell like this, notice it's part of a 13 sum. So this is 8. This could be as large as 2, 3, 4, 5. If this was also taken, this would actually be functionally as large as 2, 3. And 2, 3 can't be part of a 22 sum in just 3 cells. And so this is never part of that sum. This is, though, and so we can get this allotment. There'll be a 9 somewhere in the space and then remaining digits, but this is a way we get this started. And I think now that we've done some of those eliminations, another key cell will be seeing if this cell is used or not, because that's going to split out how these 14s go. And so let's look as if this were the case. Let's say this were not able to be taken. That requires this to be a 5, 9, but also puts an 8, 9 up here. So that the 13 sum above works out, but also the 14 and 17 sums work. And so those are all bad options. So this must be used. This must be unused. Now if we come back to these things, this 3, 14, these 2 cells could be 14, but these 5 cells can't be 14. So these are the question mark sum, and all of those get used. This is the question mark, and then this is the 21. So this is 21 coming down, and this gets marked. I'm seeing if there's more. This 6, 13, 26 means these all get marked, and this is a filled row. We have a little more to now do, but let's come back to how these looked. And this was like this. This 14 is in 2 cells, and so normally this would be 5, 6, 8, 9. But these three cells are part of a sum of 30, which is taking 6, 7, 8, 9 out of the equation. So this has to be 5, this has to be 9. That makes this 4, 9, 8. Now in this sum of 14 coming from above, this used to be a 5, 6, 8, 9 cell, but 5 and 9 are used. So this is 6 and 8, and this is 6 and 8. And if this is 6, 6 and 4 would take another 4, so that's no good. So this is 8, 2, 4, and we have 9, 7, 6 coming across. Coming back to this column clue, this is a 29, which is 9, 8, 5, 7. 9, 8, 5 are over there. 9, 8 is here. 9 is to the left here, so this is 8, 9, 8. We've got a little more, like this whole space is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But 5, 7, 8, 9 are here, so this is 6. 5, 6, 8, 9, see that cell, so this is 7. 6, 7, 8, 9 are here, so this is 5, and this is 8, 9, 8, 9. So now I have a row that just has 1, 2, 3, 4 left for its spaces. And 2, 8 with 3 or 4 will always need another digit here to finish it out. And where 4 is to the left, this has to be 4 below, 3 here, 1 here. Last space for 1 in that whole row gets marked in. 28 has to take 5 cells, so it has to come all the way over to here. This column uses all the digits now. We've got a few more things to think through, and one of them is probably with this 35 taking 5 through 9. Cells like this have to be part of 1, 2, 3, 4. Meant to hit down, not across. But take this cell, which is part of a 21 sum. 1 and 3 are too small for it. This can be a 4. It has to have 8 and 9 pairing with it, which are here. Make that work. That now means this is a 2, 3. This is a 2, 3 or nothing, and this is a 1, 2, 3. So we're still getting some more limits here. I'm thinking through these values will constrain what's to the left of them. And looking back at this column, we need a sum of 18, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are taken. So the smallest this can be is 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, 5, 6, 7, with a 5, 6 in the bottom. And notice that those are actually also the value of 18. So there's no way a 9 goes down here. So this is a 9. This is the 8. This is the 9. We finish the 21, which means these get marked in to finish that row. These are fill sums. We need to get 8 digits with a 4 in the bottom for this to be a 45. So this is a valid. This is valid. We have still a little bit of flexibility in the grid, but my guess is we're going to eliminate it if we look at some of these most constrained spots left over. So this 15 is a big sum, and it's near a 9, which is a small sum. So let's look at this for a second. The smallest value this can be is a 6. It can go up 7, 8, 9, but 9, 8, 7 are all going to be impossible to get a total value of 9 for the column clues. So 2 is above, 6 below, 9 comes in here. This 2 means this has to be a 3, which means this far right value is a 6 in this column, so these digits go away as options. Eliminates this choice as well. 8, 9 go out from there, so the only space for an 8 in the sum is here. Can eliminate that 6 as well, so we still have some choices. There's like 7 and 3 gets this valid, but notice that this whole sum getting up to 18 is going to be a little bit difficult with how it looks in the grid right now. I think one thing we haven't done is considered how we get 20 in 3 digits. And 20, if the 8 is already taken, you'll see in this column the 8's already used. 7, 6, 5 isn't big enough, so a 9 has to be down here. And if a 9 is here, it's not up above, so 7's to the left, and 9 is to the right. That means 5, 6, 9 is how we get out to 20, and we've got some spaces where 6, 9 are eliminated, 9 is eliminated, we've got 5, 6, 9. These 6's mean that this is the last space for 6 in the column, it's last space for a 5, it's last space for a 7. That actually means that this will have to be 2, 3 coming across, but with this already placed, this is 2, this is 3, this is 1, this is 2, this is 1. 7, 2, 1 adds up to 8. We have 3, 4 left to place in these cells, 3 to the left, 4 to the right. In this row, we have 4, 8, 7 to go. 4 is the last space here. 8's above here, so this is 7, this is 8. 4 adding up to 12 puts an 8 in here. This is 2 and 5. 2 to the left, 5 here. This has 3 and 9 to go for the column. 9 here, 3 here. This has 5 and 7 to go. Put this in. This sum coming across, we have 34 plus 11 to get to 45. 11 means this is 5 and 6, or this is 4 of 7. The 6 is below, so this is 4, 7, 5 to get that sum to work. 7 down, 6 up here. We have 1 and 6 to finish this out. 1 here, 6 here. Last for the column is a 3. This is a 15 with 6 more to get to 21. It's not 4, so this is 1 plus 5. 1 is already down here, so this is 1, 5 like this. We have 2, 3, 7 to go up top. 7 here, 2, 3, 2, 3. This is 4, 7 to finish this out, so 4 to the left, 7 to the right. 15 for the sum here is going to have a 2. The remaining digits in this space are a 3, 5, 3, 5. And notice that this 2 actually eliminates 2, 3, 3, 5. We've got 5, 6 to finish this space, 5 above, 6 below. This has 5, 3, 6 to finish the space, 5, 6, 3. 3, put in 2, we have 4, 8. And the top row we have 7, 9, sorry, 2, 7, so 2, 7. And down here we have 1, 4. So a real workout, and as we come back to look at the grid, one of the hidden theme elements, which you probably caught on to, is that there is a sum of 45 in all the rows. A different way Murat had hidden this is if you look across these cells, and we did move this middle clue down, the title smashed sums is also able to be spelled across the top of the grid, and where if you take the Japanese sum with the extra letters, those came through. And so this is not just a Japanese sum cipher puzzle, this is a valid smash sums puzzle where there are 2 blackened cells and 1 through 9 in all the rows and columns. So an elegant reveal at the end, a really challenging solve not knowing it's a smash sums puzzle, but hopefully you got your way through the cipher steps as I showed, starting with A and S and M and H and working up to the bigger clues through some of these constrained things like this first column. Used the sums of 45 that had 3 clues in them to mark these extremes, like how we have to take the leftmost and rightmost cell here, or the topmost or bottommost cell. In a column like that, those got us into the middle of the solve, and then it was really a whole lot of Japanese sums, putting numbers around the grid to work all the way through, but we got to the finish. So hope you got something from watching the solve, hope you enjoyed another Sunday Stumper, and we'll see you again soon.